Ah! Holy crap, 10,000 people, that's so many people! Anyway, hello team. So unfortunately, I did have to split this into 2 parts, mostly because in this first part I addressed the longer questions, which were basically like, what got you into writing stories and why creepypastas and like that kind of stuff, which, you know, takes some backstory, and also the question of how design came to be, which took a bit of explaining as well. So after that, I just kind of fly through all of your guys' questions, so hopefully you'll stick around for that. And without further ado, let's get started on this. I'm just going to do a quick overview of myself because I saw a lot of you asking just general questions like, what's your real name, where are you from, how did you start writing, that kind of stuff. So, well, let's just go for it. My real name is Liam. Never have to lose sleep over that one again, don't worry. Why is my channel name so narcissistic? Well, because no one was ever supposed to watch my stuff, and me and my friends thought it was funny. Then other people came who weren't in on that little inside joke, and well, now I've just got a channel with 10,000 subscribers called Scary Storytime with Liam. Oh, f*** my life. Anyway, I was born in Phoenix, Arizona. Just try to spell Phoenix, by the way. I freaking dare you. Anyway, back on topic, I don't remember anything about Phoenix, because by the time I was 1 year old, my family had moved to Colorado, to a little town in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains called Conifer. That's where I grew up, doing normal kid stuff like being unathletic and drawing terrible shit. The first story I remember ever seriously trying to write was about one of my stuffed animal walruses named Wally getting in like a plane crash or some shit. There was definitely an alien at some point as well. Damn. I've never been able to write something so beautiful ever again. Anyway, that garbage was the only thing I ever tried to write. Ever. I was probably 8 at the time. Since none of you give 2 shits about my life story, we'll just fast forward until junior year of high school, 2 years ago. One day, whilst perusing the infinite bullshit library of YouTube, I happened upon a tasty little treat called Snow on Mount Silver. Not sure why I started watching it, and I don't remember who narrated it, but Jesus fuck, I could not sleep. I wouldn't necessarily admit, say I was scared, but I was just so incredibly uneasy. It felt kinda shitty, but kinda fun, and kinda like I had been manipulated. Oh, hell nah. I was not about to take that. I could deal with being spooked for a bit, could even deal with someone stabbing me in the face with a knife. But for the same reason sad movies piss me off, I hate it when other people puppet my strings. The sleeplessness didn't come from the unease I felt over the story. It was because deep down, I always knew why this bugged me so much. Was it because I was just self-conscious and, dare I say, jealous that I had never been able to so effortlessly play with other people's emotions? You f***ing bet it. I couldn't have cared less about the narrators. I love the stories themselves. I mean, the narrators read someone else's work and freaking talked into a microphone. Who the hell are you to take credit for that? I've since learned that it's far more work than it seems, however. I mean, the writers themselves still deserve far more credit than they are getting, but narration itself isn't all sunshine and rainbows. I know because I'm still just terrible at it. And besides, the point of the narrators isn't to take credit for other people's work anyway, it's just to kind of, you know, get their stories out there, and that's admirable. Anyway, I respect every other narrator, including the big 3, and have absolutely changed my mind about them since starting my own channel. They're all really great guys, and deserve plenty of credit as well. Anyway, one Mr. Creepypasta story narration viewing later, a beautiful creepypasta called The Strangest Security Tape I Had Ever Seen, and I was thoroughly pissed off enough to yank back my marionette strings from those bastard writing puppeteers and say, fuck off, dude. I refuse to feel how you want me to feel. Take this, you asswagon. And so, one night later, I had written the first thing I'd ever written for fun in, well, since that walrus abomination when I was 8. It was a self-proclaimed creepypasta, a revenge-fueled story I typed on my cell phone called Pretty Like Me. Terrible, for sure. I guess I was fairly happy with it at the time, though. Happy enough to read it to a group of girls at a party that weekend. I know. What a player over here. Dem ladies always falling for my spooky weird shit. #1 dating advice. Anyway, the point is, I definitely owe where I am now to them. They loved it and had the greatest reactions ever. Moving on. The very next day, I went on a fishing trip with my dad and older brother to the North Fork of the South Platte River, because there's some good trout there. It's about an hour drive from my house, and you've probably guessed it by now, but it was during that drive, again on my cell phone, that I typed up my second creepypasta and third story of all time, really. Colorado fishing trip. This remains my most popular story to date, with Creeps McPasta's narration of it currently at almost 90,000 views. Wait, that's not actually true. Okay. The Hinamizawa child experiment, the very next story I wrote, is at about like 140,000 with King Spook's narration, and 14,000 in its German translation. Cool. The point is, after writing Colorado fishing trip, I was like, I have 2 stories now. And after a few days of wondering what the hell to do, I was like, meh, better narrate them and post them online. And thanks to the miracle of YouTube, no one gave half a shit. And it was like this for a little over a year. I continued uploading some stories every now and then when I felt like it, continuously being met by abyssal viewlessness and not giving a shitness. But I didn't care, and I never, ever stopped writing them. If people didn't listen to them, that was fine. I had found sheer joy in just writing them, so meh. Good lord, this little backstory is way longer than I meant it to be, so I'll try and wrap it up. The point is, a few people eventually cared a little, and I was like, yay! The day my first video reached 100 views, you can bet I just about punched a hole in the ceiling with joy. I don't think I have the strength to do that, but hey. Then, more people cared, and I was like, I am the puppet master! The end. I'm 19 years old, currently in college, studying at USC in their Division of Cinematic Arts, specifically animation and digital arts. I have an older brother by 3 years and a cat named Castiel, like the supernatural character. And if my parents knew what kind of crap I wrote for this channel, they would create a device literally causing psychiatrists to rain from the sky. On to the questions! Starting with the people who replied directly to my comment about my haircut need, because they clearly need my attention super hard. Alright, let's go. Did an unnerving or scary event happen to you to inspire you to write specifically scary stories? Nope, I live a weirdly sheltered life. Second question, have you ever or will you ever write a post inspired by a real experience? Yeah, actually kind of a lot of them are. I mean, they're kind of just daily situations I go through and then just put spooky stuff in there, like a cold love story, for example, not the murderous stalker girl part. Whoops, spoiler. Anyway, but that day in general, it can get cold as hell in Colorado, and one day while waiting for the bus, my skin was physically stinging underneath my coats. My friend was also there, and she was cold as well. No, her name wasn't Sarah, and neither of us had a thing for each other. The end. You can see I exaggerated a few aspects on that story. Anyway, third question, have you always taken literature classes or are a natural writer? Close enough, and that's super sweet of you, but what's a literature class? It sounds super painful. I hardly think I'm a good writer at all, though. Shit, it's tangent time. This was a different question asked by Roxas the Geek, who asked why I always talk about my stuff so lowly all the time, why I constantly try to undermine things I upload. It's true, I always make sure to point out flaws in my own stuff, or state right off the bat that what I've created is no good. Why do I do this? Well, obviously, part of the reason, if I'm being super honest, is that it's a defense tactic. Like a little 4th grade kid with self-confidence issues, if I make fun of my own stuff, it just means that you can't do it later. Ha! I win. I mean, that's a dumb reason, and that's not the main reason. The other reason is that I just truly, 100% believe my stuff is no better than something anyone else could create. I really want to hammer in the point that everyone can be a great storyteller, way better than me if they give it a shot. I need to bring myself down so everyone understands that I'm just a self-conscious tool at the end of the day. I'm not special, and nothing is keeping anyone from doing what I'm doing. I suppose my attempted being humbleness tends to come off as a bit self-depreciative, so sorry about that. But back on track. What is the freakiest or most terrifying thing that's ever happened to you? Well, that's actually a bit of a toss-up. One time I got a book and smashed a spider with it, and when I moved the book, the spider was gone. Haven't slept in years. The other thing that was just horrifying that happened recently, yesterday, as of the day I'm recording this, is that I had to run away from a bank in the middle of LA holding bags of money. It was for a film we were doing, but seriously. Fifth question, what is your greatest aspiration as a person, writer, etc.? Being a puppet master, obviously. How long do you usually prepare one original story? A story usually takes about a week to write, depending on the length and my interest in it. I tend to write for about an hour or two every few days until the story's done. And do you read on the spot the moment you finish writing, or do you do practice runs? This might be evident, but I don't practice. Just go for it and hope for the best. Do you think you'll be doing anything else apart from creepypastas? If so, what? I'll be doing animation. My desire to puppet people eventually branched from simple storytelling to animating said stories with art. That's what I want to do for the rest of my life. Oh, and you are one of 2 narrators that answer, aren't you? What? Broken Minds asks, what is the best accent you can do, and if it's possible, do a short creepypasta with it? Question mark. Alright, that last one wasn't a question, but moving on, I'm probably the worst human in existence at doing accents, or showing emotion in general. Listen to my dang voice, I'm like a monotone robot. Lily? Holy shit, your name is the same as John's sister in Yellow Halogen. That's cool. Anyway, would you rather eat a banana whole or would you rather lick a raw... That's not even a whole banana? You would just choke and die. Are you asking me if I would rather die or suffer a slightly gross dirt taste? Because I would take death. Why did you write design? God dang it, you guys want me to make this video take 12 years, don't you? Actually, a lot of people ask this question, so let's get on it. Design. The various renditions of the same question were, what was your inspiration, why did you write it, that kind of stuff. So first off, my inspiration, literally not even kinda Elfenlied, like so many of you seem to think. Long before I saw that anime, which in all honesty, not sure if I ever finished, or maybe I just don't remember the ending. There was definitely a little girl and she exploded. If that was the ending, then cool, I watched the whole thing. If not, I'm not being embarrassed or lying when I say that I seriously don't watch anime very much at all. I freaking love the style, and animate that way far more than I should, because my professors don't like it. But come on, them eyes. Anyway, what shows I have seen have been pretty awesome, and I've got nothing against the genre, but when people tell me of something I've written that reminds them of something I've never seen, I'm just kind of like, cool, because that happens a weird amount. I'm pretty sure animes are starting to steal ideas from me. Either way, nah, my inspiration is way dumber. Frickin' Doc Ock from Spider-Man. Hell freaking yeah, terrible movie, but when I saw it, however freaking long ago that was now, I mean, come on! That was the coolest shit ever! Something about tentacle thingies protruding from people's backs just seems so kinda natural in a weird way. I watched the movie recently, again, after remembering how much I loved that character, and it was just as cool, I assure you. It wasn't until I was listening to some crappy YouTube EDM a day later, though, that this image was used as a background for one of the songs. Now, the chains aren't coming from her back, and I guess they're like frickin' chain nunchucks or something? I don't know, but it just clicked that, Jesus Christ, they totally could be coming from her back, Doc Ock style. If only I was a dude currently writing stories for a YouTube channel which was beginning to gain some traction and could create such a character. Oh wait! Now at the time, I was writing a story about 2 friends, John and Sarah, breaking into a ghost town. I didn't know what was going to happen to them in there, but I never do with my stories. I just write until something horrific happens. I was pretty sure I was going to make Sarah the antagonist again though, because I do that a lot, and it's kind of a fun game at this point. Like, it was going to turn out to be a creepy maze trap or something, Saw style, and John and Sarah were gonna have to try and break out, and then you learn that Sarah was behind it all, or something lame like that. I don't know. I set that story aside instantly, however, having this sudden urge to create a character with frickin' chains that she can move around like Doc Ock's tentacles. That was just this instant obsession of mine, like back when I loved that movie. So boom, I just went at it, writing this entire scene where this creepy zombie girl just hacks people apart with these chain thingies. She didn't have any definite number of them at first. I was just like, I don't know, she's a ghost or some shit. It doesn't matter. She can use as many damn chains as she wants. All of the murder. I didn't know any of the mechanics of the chains, like why the hell they would cut through people being dull metal and all. None of it made any sense, and that quickly became apparent as I wrote the scene. It was complete crap. Something rather disappointing for me, seeing as how I'd never been so stumped on a story in a long time. All I really knew was that I didn't want to make her an antagonist. Why did the bad guys always get the cool shit? I definitely wanted her to be insane though. She needed to be that way so I could have her, kill lots of people. But to make her work as a unique person, I had to think back a bit. At this point, I had written a cold love story quite a while ago, and in that story, I created one of my first characters. Ever. Creepypastas traditionally aren't meant for creating characters, just random scary shit and maybe a few original monsters here and there. But no, Sarah was a lovesick psychopath who people really connected with for some weird reason. It was a great feeling to know that something I'd written, a character with no real life, was being treated almost as if something more than text, and because of that, I wrote a cold love story retold next, giving her character a background and crap, a personality of her own, even going so far as to give her a last name. Ho ho, first time I'd done something like that. But her character always seemed a bit cliche. Pretty alright, but I felt like I could do better. And now I had a chance to rewrite her character and make it the same, only much better, with goddamn chain tentacles, oh yeah! The idea to pick back up my Ghost Town story, trash what I had written about the chain girl and vow to write her character into the Ghost Town somewhere, it came when I was super bored on a flight to Ireland. Everything kind of clicked instantly at that point. Of course the Ghost Town was hiding a government facility within it. Also, there's going to be a lot of spoilers here. Like a lot. If you haven't listened to the series and want to, and basically the whole point of the series are the plot twists, so it's probably a good idea to skip ahead until this specific picture is gone, and you'll know I've moved on from this topic. Anyway, continuing for the rest of you, of course the Ghost Town was hiding a government facility within it. What was the facility experimenting on? Chain tentacle thingamajiggies. It's so simple. When it became apparent that this story was going to be a long one, I wrote in Penny and Max's characters so that more people could die in the beginning and you would feel more terrible. Then this chain girl thingy just kind of shows up because, you know, I wanted her to be there because chains are cool. And several iterations of her were written before I finally settled on what happened. Penny always died though. Having the chain girl kill lots of people in cool ways and having Penny die were basically my sole goals for the entire series. What followed was really just basic storytelling formula. The chain girl is a science experiment, a weapon of mass destruction created by the government to fuck shit up. Also telekinesis, because that makes sense and is already super cool without chains. The main character and her team up to escape this government shit, and yeah, pretty cliche. I mean, there's a billion stories out there like that. So I wrote all of that, even having the official title of WMD, as in Weapon of Mass Destruction, for some time. But damn it do I love plot twists, and I needed to add a shit ton to keep this story interesting. Otherwise it was too cliche, too formulaic. So I had already narrated the first 2 chapters before I decided that, nah, this girl isn't a stranger, she killed his family or something. Let's put a school massacre in the main character's past. That'll turn into something later. Everyone called that instantly, so shit, could've worked that in better, but whatever. Also, we only think that the chain girl is a nice weapon of mass destruction created by the government, but really the government is trying to stop her? What? Hell, maybe he even knows her already. That would be cool. So those seem like great plot twists to me, but shit, they just did not make any sense. The rest of my time was devoted to making those few plot twists work. And there you go. Design. Hopefully it didn't seem too much like it, but the reason I always refer to design as a mediocre story I'm not that proud of is because it really was a huge clusterfuck for a long time. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with liking it, but Jesus, I'm super glad you guys think it turned out into a coherent story because that was the first time I had tried to write such a long piece of writing ever, and many aspects of it didn't go so well during the process. But hey, I guess people seem to think it works pretty good, and they like the chain girl character. Also, parasites called left hands that make people telekinetic and stuff, so that's cool. Design, everybody. Yay! Alright, Lily. Let's get back onto your questions. 3. Why is your voice like music? I eat songbirds. 4. Who's your favorite character in design? I like that one military dude who got his head stabbed against a tree in the first season. He was my favorite. Where do you get your creepypasta ideas from? I already kinda answered this, but just writing a situation, any situation, and then continuing to write until something goes horrifically wrong is pretty much my tactic every time. No inspiration needed except for the initial situation. Guess my brain has a bit of a natural drift tendency to be like, puppy, puppy, puppy. The puppy was dead the whole time and also your grandmother's corpse is on the ceiling behind you crawling forwards. Will you stain me something with your mic? That joke is both topical and relevant. Is Callie from Design based off anyone you know? It's actually Callie. like the Hindu goddess of death, because this kid right here knows how to use Google search and thought that would be a cool name after reading a Wikipedia article. Also, as I said, her character is based off Sarah's character from A Cold Love Story, who in turn is based off of a girl who rode my bus. Which I kind of feel bad about, because she definitely wasn't a psychopath. In fact, she was so normal that I figured she had to be hiding something. I'm a terrible person. Cats or dogs? I don't know. It's always so easy to be loved by dogs that I just feel like they're faking it, and cats never love you ever, so I don't know, I guess I like depression. Broken Minds, again, asks, can you do a MLG creepypasta just for the hell of it? I have never in my life had less of an idea of what a series of 3 letters stands for. Richard Rankin says, how about more pastas around 10 to 15 minutes and less continued story? That's not a question. Why do the characters of your different creepypastas have the same/similar names? For instance, John is the same name of the main character in Design, Yellow Halogen, and A Cold Love Story. Is there some deeper connection here, or do you just suck at coming up with names for characters? A lot of people have started to pick up on this fact. It's a bit of both, actually. John is the main character of a lot more stories than just those 3, and at first it was just a joke to keep having the same characters die, and then it kind of became something more than that. If I ever continue Design Killer AU, you'll understand what I mean. There's definitely some shared universe stuff going on in this business. Kyle W. asks, how can we make a good pasta that you would narrate for this channel? That is a freaking beautiful question, Kyle, and I might just have to make an entirely separate video for that, partly because I don't want this to be too super long and I would go for hours on that, because I love talking about writing stories and would love to help with any questions anyone has about writing stories, so I will get back to that in a video, I promise. Alright. Moving on for now, though. Good to see your acknowledgement of the whole Elfin Lie thing. Yeah, until I denied it just now, am I right? Ethics asks, why do you always read so boring? Haha, JK, your readings are... That's funny. But no, in all seriousness, I am super sorry. I'm not being intentionally lame. My voice is just... This is the most excited I've ever been to record something, and I still sound like I'm waiting at the DMV trying to lull a bus full of hyperactive children to sleep using the sheer monotone boringness of my voice. It's not that I'm not trying to express emotion, I express myself through excessive hand movements, and that's a bit difficult to communicate through a microphone. How old are you? 19. What is your dream job/life goal? Make people feel shitty when I want them to by writing sad stories and getting payback for the sad movies of my childhood. So basically I would like to be a writer or animator for television or film. Are you addicted to something? Using these phrases in my stories. I looked on in horror. My blood pulsed with ice. And the word crimson, apparently. Favorite beverage, artisan water that comes in glass bottles and costs like $40. Perfect for the days I feel like I'm not being quite enough of an ass to African children. What do you usually do on a normal day? Cry. How long does it usually take you to write a story? Also, do you take parts of other creepypastas, movies, or books into your own stories? To reiterate, it takes about a week for the 30 to 40 minute stories, only working an hour or 2 a day. And as for the second part of your question, I try not to. Obviously, everyone wants their things to be completely original, but that's just not possible. Everything always has been done before. Everything is a remix of an existing property, whether you're doing it intentionally or subconsciously. People pull from what they know, that's just what humans do. I've obviously never intentionally tried to take any part of anyone's stories. I love being original, so why would I? Austin asks, why do you make me cry in terror? Because my second favorite beverage is your tears. Deuce Venue asks if I have a P.O. box to accept gifts. Would you guys actually send me stuff? If you would, let me know and I'll set one up. He also asks, are you friends or do you at least know the other creepypasta narrators? I know King Spook, and I guess we're pretty okay bros, but I don't really know any of the others, which is my own fault because I could collaborate with them and that would definitely help grow my channel, but I'm just too busy writing stuff. It's really tough to do all of the aspects of a creepypasta narration channel. I can't just find other people's stories and narrate them. I just have to write stories and then narrate them as quickly as possible to have a semi-regular upload schedule. It's far too much work for me to have time to collaborate with others most of the time, which is kind of a bummer. He also asks, what is your favorite anime and are there any steampunk creepypastas? I don't know what a steampunk creepypasta would entail, and let's just go over every anime I've seen in my life. Higurashi, Elfen Lied, kinda, once again I'm pretty sure I finished that. Attack on Titan, didn't finish that one, too busy to keep watching. Sword Art Online, and Angel Beats. Every anime I've ever seen. I think Angel Beats was by far the best in terms of production and art design and had a great story, but I can't help but like Higurashi more, mostly because of the spookiness. Andy asks, what do I think of psychological horror anime and manga like Tokyo Ghoul or Parasite? Haven't seen them, but if they're anything like Higurashi, I would probably enjoy them. Not that I have time to watch any shows right now, but hey, one day, can you give some tips on how to get started on a story and keep being motivated to write on it? Yes, once again, I shall include that in a different video, I promise. I just want to say thanks for your amazing content and ask if you have a Skype, just to know you don't have to tell me your Skype name or anything if you do. Well, I do have a Skype. Moving on. Do I enjoy fish sticks? Fun fact, the one joke I've had trouble not killing someone over. Do you consider opening a Patreon page? Did it after you said that. Don't know how to run that thing, but hey, I have a link. It exists now. I can't really offer anything in return until I get my life in order over the summer, but hey, it's there. Link in the description. How do you prevent drowning and all that pussy you're probably getting from that handsome face? Not as hard as you think. Do you plan on publishing your design series as a manga? That would be awesome. We need a Kickstarter campaign on that. Like I said, I love that style and would be totally willing to do that, especially if even a few people were willing to help out. My problem isn't necessarily money though. I can find a way to raise enough. My problem is finding a good artist. All of you need to get your friends and become spam bots. Find someone who's good at manga style and report back to me if they're taking any projects as large as this one. I mean, I don't know how mangas work, but even just season 1 of design is just that, a full season. I'm willing to sell my soul faster than something that sells its soul fast to make a design manga a thing, but I need an interested artist first. For someone to trust me enough to take on such a project, it's not going to be easy and I'm definitely going to need help. You're pretty cool. How do you create the videos you make? Holy shit, you use the correct version of your. It's you and then R combined to make a contraction spelled Y-O-U''re. I'm not losing my mind. It's not that hard, right? Your is used for possession, as in your bike, and your usage of your is wrong. How about you take 5 seconds to look it over, huh? And your is used to mean you are. Why am I so happy that you got it right then if it's so easy? Huh? Internet? Answer me! Anyway, thanks dude. I use Vegas Movie Studio to put clips together, Audacity to record, and After Effects for motion graphics. I've never used these programs on my channel, but I also use Flash for animation and Maya for 3D renders. When are you going to post more Yellow Halogen? I've posted the next part since you asked this question, so soon? Do you have a significant other? Yeah. It's a plaque of the word other, but bolded to show significance. Expert question dodging skills. Oh, and will you marry me? Only if you promise me that you're actually He-Man in real life. Wait, I have one more. Oh my god. Would you read the first ever story poem whatever you ever wrote, like as a child? That would actually be awesome. I'll search for that and make a video about it later on, in addition to my How to Story Good video. I'll read the shit out of my 8-year-old walrus story. I hope I still have it somewhere. I'm pretty sure I do. Oops, another. Do you have a Twitter? Nope. Apparently, John has survived having a left-hand parasite in his body. My question is, does John have the same abilities of Callie, close enough. And we've got a whole new season to figure that out, don't we? Can you post the circumference of your sphincter? 47 feet. Alright, and that's where I'm going to cut it for this part. Next part has no long-winded answers, so we'll just go through all the rest of you guys' questions. Sorry if I didn't get to you this time. I didn't really get to many people at all, so you have that to look forward to in the next part of this Q&A thing that's happening. Alright, see you next time.